Hi guys, how are you all doing? I hope all of you are doing well and are safe with your families at home. Well, today I have stepped out after about 2 months, and this car has been in the Indian market for the last 2 months or so. Now, I reckon that if sales were going on in the proper way that they should have, because of this coronavirus, we all have been locked down. Then I think that this car would have been the best selling car in its segment by now, and this car would have really been achieving great amount of sales success in India, just like the previous generation of the car. In fact, Hyundai is calling this one the ultimate SUV and wants to change the entire dynamics in the SUV segment. Well, I think in terms of looks, this car looks very smashing. I think it looks very muscular, very butch, and it also looks very different from anything else out there on the road. This multiple headlamp treatment, this huge grille gives it a very unique personality, and you can't mistake it for any other car out there. Of course, you have to see it in person and see it at a showroom to really know what I'm trying to say, because pictures don't really do justice to the design language of the all-new Hyundai Creta. And as I just said, I'm going to answer that question by the end of this review. That is this the ultimate SUV? Let's get started. Well, as soon as I stepped inside the cabin of the all-new Creta, I said to myself, oh no, every other rival in this segment is in big trouble. And not just because of the quality, because the quality is absolutely first rate. The top of the dashboard, the top of the door panel over here, and even the lower end of the center console, a place where a lot of buyers don't pay attention to, is very well made and very well bolted together. Even the smaller switches and all the materials here are absolutely first rate. There's not one plastic which feels out of place, and the cabin feels very opulent, very upmarket. And I think the front end of this cabin is by far the best. What also makes it the best is the long list of features, a very rich features list. You get automatic headlamps as well as a big panoramic sunroof, cool front seats, as well as auto hold function and an electric handbrake. You don't get the traditional handbrake in the top of the line version. You of course get that in the lower version, but this one doesn't have it. You also get a camera for the back and you can turn it off. But the best feature on this car, I think, is the Blue Link app, which makes it a connected car. What you can do with that app is, of course, that you can start your car from the outside, you can turn it off, you can check the AC, switch it on, set the temperature, and a host of other features. And of course, if I tell you all about those features and the app, this video will become a half-an-hour video and you will end up getting bored. So you can check out those features on the website, and I'll link the thing in the description box below. The 10-inch touchscreen is fabulous to operate. It's very easy to use, very intuitive to operate. Hyundai makes one of the best touchscreens in the business, and this one is no different. You get all the bells and whistles as well. And of course, the top of the line version comes with the Bose sound stereo, which makes the cabin feel very good. The audio quality is very good from the stereo, and definitely if you're spending 19 or 20 lakh rupees on the top of the line versions of this car, you will feel like you've spent your money well, because name a feature and you have it inside the cabin of the all-new Hyundai Creta. It really is a fabulous place to be. I'll give it 10 out of 10. What also makes it great are the seats, because the seat comfort is excellent. Support for your under thighs is good, support for your lower back is good, and they've got the right amount of cushioning. It's neither too soft, neither too firm, and after a long day behind the wheel, you will not feel tired or feel bored, because it is a great place to be. You also get a flat bottom steering wheel to give you a sporty touch, and the dials also have a nice mix of analog as well as digital dials, because the center gauge, which is for the speedometer, is all digital, but the ones in the corners, the rev counter as well as the fuel and heat gauge, are traditional needle type gauges, and they definitely add a sporty touch as well as a modern touch to this car. Overall, what I'm trying to say is that if you're spending this kind of cash, you will not regret it, because this car has it all and it simply doesn't get better than this. 10 out of 10 for the front end of the all-new Creta. Now let's see how good the back seat is. Well, sitting in the back seat of the all-new Creta, and headroom is pretty good. Knee room also is more than sufficient. In fact, it is quite good. And I've adjusted the front seat for my height and my driving position, and my height for reference is 5'10". So if your chauffeur is 5'10", 5'11", you will be quite happy in these seats. Even if your own height is about 6'1" or 6'2", you have plenty of place over here to stretch your feet and enjoy the ride. The seats hob is nice and wide, so you get plenty of place to stretch your feet. Support for your under thighs is good. The backrest angle is good, the overall cushioning is generous, and the car is generally wide, so you can have 3 occupants in the back. The floorboard is almost completely flat, which means that you can have 3 people without any fuss whatsoever. You get your own AC vents, which is now really obligatory across segments, and you also get a USB charging point over in the back. So overall, what I'm trying to say is that you will enjoy the backseat experience of the all-new Creta, and I'll give it a strong score of 9 out of 10. Now let's see how good the boot on this car really is. And we're riding in with the tide. Well, so the boot of the all-new Creta is 435 litres, which is almost 10% more than the last version of the car, which was about 400 litres. Now, in terms of the shape and size, it's a nice and square boot, but the best part is that there's absolutely no loading sill, which means that you can easily slide in those bags and take them out. And of course, if you are going to the airport to say bye-bye to your mother-in-law, and you've had her in your home for the last 2 months because of lockdown, then this is a car you'll be more than happy to drop her back in. I'll give it a strong score of 9 out of 10. Well, so here I am driving the all-new Hyundai Creta, and remember, this car comes with the same engine options that the Seltos also gets. In fact, it gets the same 1.4 turbocharged petrol, you get the same 1.5 diesel and the same 1.5 petrol. Now the petrol and the diesel 1.5 make the identical 115 bhp, and the 1.4 turbocharged petrol makes 140 bhp. Now if you call yourself a keen driver, then the 1.4 petrol really is the one to go for with 140 bhp. You get a 7-speed dual clutch automatic gearbox along with it, and you can obviously change gears using the manual paddle shifters over here. So that is something which is a unique touch as well. What you really appreciate is the flexibility of this gearbox, and the engine also becomes flexible thanks to this gearbox. No matter what kind of speeds you're doing, no matter what kind of revs you're doing, this gearbox is never in the wrong gear. It always is in the right gear, and that enhances the flexibility of the engine quite greatly as well, and it definitely gives you a lot of confidence from this car. Now what you'll also enjoy about this car, if you choose the diesel and the petrol 1.5 and the manual version of that, is the fact that the clutch, the gearbox and the steering wheel are all very light to use. In fact, the gearbox is one of the best that I've used. It's very accurate, but still it is light, and the clutch also is a light one, which means that if you drive yourself in the city, you will not feel tired in the least, and you'll enjoy the driving experience. What you'll also enjoy is the excellent visibility all across. You get high set seats up ahead, which gives you a great view of the road ahead. You also get very good visibility from the rearview mirrors. The A-pillar also isn't very overtly chunky, so you can easily look around it, and the view from this mirror over here is also very good. So you are always knowing where your car is, and that is a big boon for people who drive mostly in the city themselves. What you'll also truly appreciate about the Creta is the fact that the overall suspension setup is very good. It's a very good suspension in terms of its composure, and also the fact that it absorbs the bumps quite well. Now people who drive the car for the thrill of driving will also enjoy it, because even though the steering wheel is light, it's pretty accurate and it's feelsome, and you'll enjoy driving this car up the hills, or even if you decide to take it on a racetrack, you can have some fun on it. And as I just said, the ride comfort is very good. Now the suspension of the all-new Creta errs on the side of comfort, and you'll definitely feel very comfortable inside it, and you'll really enjoy the overall experience inside this car. No matter what kind of speeds you're doing, no matter what kind of surface you're driving on, this car will soak in the bumps quite well, and you'll definitely feel very happy inside this car in terms of the comfort. Now the engines in terms of refinement are very good. Hyundai engines are always known for their refinement, especially the diesels, and it's no different on the new Creta. Even when you're revving this engine hard, the diesel one that is, there's very minimal noise which enters the cabin, so that is something very good. And because the manual versions comes with a 6-speed gearbox, you get great flexibility as well. So if you're doing, say, speeds in excess of 100 kph on the highway, the engine is speeding at a relatively low 1800-1900 rpm in the petrol and about 2200 in the diesel, which makes the cabin feel like a nice and isolated place to be in, and it is well cocooned from everything else that's happening on the outside. So overall, a great place for long distance journeys, a great place for comfort, and a great place for refinement from the engines. Now talking about the steering wheel of the all new Creta, no matter which engine option you choose, the steering wheel is light on all of them, which makes it a great car for driving in the city because you won't tire yourself out. It's not overtly heavy, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't have good feel and isn't very accurate. It is a very accurate steering wheel, and what's also good about it is that you will not feel nervous on the highway. If you're doing speeds in excess of 100 kph, the car feels very well planted. Then the steering wheel also offers you a good amount of confidence. So that is something which is very good about the new Creta. It's got a good mix of highway stability as well as comfort at slow city speeds. So it is a very well tuned suspension. And if you of course call yourself a keen driver, then the 1.4 turbo petrol is the one to go for. It offers you a very good mix of strong performance, a rev happy engine, and it remains very quiet and very refined when you drive it hard, which is a big boon. And of course, if you want a traditional petrol, then the 1.51 is to go for. It offers you 115 bhp, which is more than sufficient. Performance also is more than adequate, and you'll never be found wanting for power. Refinement levels are good as well. And as just said, because the gearbox is light, the clutch is light, and the steering is light, the Creta is a great car for driving yourself in the city. Overall, if I had to give it a score out of 100, I'll give the Creta across its entire list of engines as well as gearboxes a strong score of 90 out of 100. It really is a very well-rounded package in the driver department. Normally, when companies and marketing teams launch punchlines for their cars, they normally get it wrong because the cars don't match the punchlines. But in this case, the Hyundai punchline of the Creta being the ultimate SUV is absolutely spot on, because this car comes with all the bells and whistles. It comes with all the features. It comes with great engine options and great gearbox options. It is good to drive. It's great to sit in. It's very spacious. It feels very upmarket. And if you are spending about 18 or 19 lakh rupees on the top end version of the car, you will feel a sense of security and a sense of peace of mind, because this car has everything that you want from it, and it's nice to drive, as I just said. And even if you're looking at a base version of the car of about 11 or 12 lakh rupees on road, even then you'll be quite happy with it and quite satisfied, because it is a spacious car, refined car, and a car which offers you the Hyundai feel-good factor. So Hyundai's punchline of this being the best SUV and the ultimate SUV in its segment and at that price point is correct. And I reckon that if you're in the market for a SUV from this budget, then definitely simply close your eyes, walk into a Hyundai dealership and book this car, and you will not regret your decision. This is by far the best SUV, and you can't get any better than this in the Indian market in terms of SUVs. It's bye for now, and thanks for watching.